Yeah.
Are you ever asked to, when people are doing like, you know, Sharma's Britain, or, you know, people are doing like big
historical programs.
They say, well, we'll ask Carl about this. He might have an opinion.
Yeah.
They've got.
I'd like to see you as a pundit, definitely, on those kind of on Newsnight.
It's just that I think it's a funny one, because the whole idea of sport is to keep fit.
Yeah.
And that's sort of, you know, it's a bit of an odd one, isn't it?
Well, it's the same as sort of like weightlifting. You have to go through all that all year to see if you can push up, you know, something heavier than someone else. But you have to walk round in a golf buggy to you know, to that one. And take steroids and.
But I mean, look, the other day, you know, I don't do much sport. I think living in London, there's not that many areas you can go and. Actually, I'm probably wrong there.
Well, there's all the gyms and sports clubs and
I'm
stuff.
probably wrong
and the
on
parks
that bit.
and the roads.
But look how like excited I was going round to your place, Ricky, and you had like a little garden.
Yeah.
I haven't got a garden.
We played football, didn't we?
And we had a little. Well, I did.
No, you were rubbish. I beat you in penalties, 5-2, and then I beat you on knockout, I think 10-4, and he always makes an excuse. He goes, "No, start again. We didn't say that." I'm cracking up.
So, have you seen Ricky play football?
No, I've not really seen either.
Right,
play football.
It's not football. You sort of do it like it's like when you get a cat and you chuck it some wool. You sort of jump on it and lie on top of it so you can't get it, and then sort of kick it with his feet, lying on the floor.
Really?
No, what I mean is, he fouled me, and I was on one hand.
Are you sure he didn't just collapse because of all the stress and the exercise?
That's the other thing.
He just tumbled on the floor, Stilton poured out of his mouth.
I was too strong for him.
No.
I was too strong for you.
Yeah, but you didn't last long, did you? It was like if football
I didn't want to last
if football
long.
matches went.
They just bring me on for the first 10 minutes.
Who suggested that you two play football? Did you suggest this, Rick?
Yeah, we went around there. Yeah, well, yeah, we had to go and football in the garden. Yeah. What else do we do?
I just had a look at your salamander.
Right, is that euphemism or? Because I know that when I first went to your house, you used to show your genitals to people a lot more than you do now. You definitely used to do that. You used to think that was hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is that you get to a certain age, men of a certain ilk get to a certain age and just
got it out, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, when Ross came in, he did the same.
Yeah.
It's that weird.
Yeah, I suppose. I thought, you've seen it
Childlike
now. I thought
mentality.
you've seen it. You know, you weren't impressed the first time, to be quite honest, Steve.
With you.
So,
Yeah. No, it's, you know, it's
but,
nice.
you know,
Always, always a treat to see.
Yeah.
What do you make of Ricky's place? What do you make of it?
Again, that's not a euphemism. It doesn't mean that it's like a flat fish.
Yeah.
Do you want to see my place?
Yeah,
There it is.
It's all right. I mean, I've
You've seen better.
the pictures you've got on the wall. I'm not keen on the same sort of art as you are.
Right.
What sort of art? Because yours is quite sort of modern art.
He's got this big like bit of
Abstract
canvas with like just loads of dark colours on it.
Yeah.
It looks really miserable.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, it sort of brings the place down. If you're going to sell it, that woman on Channel 5, the house doctor, if she came round, she'd say, take that down, and you'll get double for it. It's just, I thought it was like a wall.
Take that down, get that salamander out, and just pop those back in your trousers.
Yeah.
It was like he didn't know what sort of colour to use on the wall, so he's like been putting a little bit on. No, that's not good. I'll use like a bit of a darker colour.
Yeah.
And it's just loads of different.
Are you Brian Sewell? Because you're just saying.
So what kind of art do you like? I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
I like
Athena.
I like Lowry.
Right.
Larry, the worst painter in the world. The most overrated.
You see, it depends. You're getting excited about
Rubbish.
your stuff you've got on. Lowry, right?
Yeah.
You can look at.
He really is the Brian and Michael.
No.
But
it's real, isn't it? Right?
What do you mean it's real?
It's real. You look at his picture and you see like little disabled people walking about. You see kids
That's not real, then.
playing with like footballs. You've got your dad coming home from work, working in the factory. Got a little dog barking. It's life, right? And you can look at it for like 10 minutes, go away, go and watch telly or something for a bit, go back to it, and you'll see different things in it.
Really? What is it, like one of those magic eyes?
You sure that's not a telly?
Yeah, you've been looking out the window, Carl.
You sure you weren't watching When the Boat Comes In?
People will agree with me. It's better than your stuff that you buy.
This show started off slick.
Yeah.
We had something to say.
No, what are you talking about? We're now discussing art.
We were taking the big out of fat people, and now it's
and now
all
you've taken it all highbrow, Carl.
Play a record, we'll come back to Fatties. Badly Drawn Boy. Something to talk about on XFM 104.9. You're listening to Ricky Gervais.
Well, then there's Steve Mitchell.
Well, let's just get on with the... We've already had a complaint.
Yeah.
Someone saying, your TV show's so good, why is your radio show so hard work, you useless fat...
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you can't please everyone, Carl. It's like Lowry. Some people like Lowry. Some people like that fella who did the dark painting for me.
Talking of emails, there was some guy, he hasn't mentioned his
Larry's
name, or
rubbish.
maybe his name's Steve, but he said that he was checking out the Office DVDs. DVD's going on sale, isn't it, soon? I think the video and the DVD of The Office are going on sale soon. But he was checking it out on Amazon, and he said that, it says on there, and I did check it, double check it, that, it includes, some special frottage. Or special frottage.
Oh,
is that how
frottage.
it's correctly pronounced?
Is that mutual doing it to each
I
other?
think it's
or is it
sexual.
or is it the rubbing up against each other?
Yeah.
It's one of those, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
is
some
that
sort
what it
of-
is? It's where you rub up against people?
I don't know, it's something like that. Yeah.
But so there's some special frottage on there.
Yeah.
Look forward to that on the DVD.
I think they mean footage.
I'm imagining so.
If you're buying it for frottage, you are going to
Yeah,
be
you're gonna be sorely
disappointed.
disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna that first hour then was about eating too much, wasn't it? I think we can.
That's essentially
put
what
that-
we talked about, yeah.
That is probably. You know, I read something interesting. You know, they've banned. I used to get the Guinness Book of Records every year from about the age of 10 onwards, and I went to the section like, you know, the biggest, fattest, all that, right? And there used to be gluttony records, and it was like these ridiculous looking Texans, and how many hamburgers they can eat, and of course they were. It was just so dangerous. They've put it down to how many hamburgers you can eat in a minute now.
Yeah.
And so they've brought it down to things like 17. You
Yeah,
know, they still
yeah.
burst their stomach glass ball. But I remember I was watching the Big Brother when they had to break that record. You know, like eating sweet corn and balancing. I was thinking, who wants to beat that record?
Yeah.
Most of the records in the Guinness Book of Records exist because no one wants to contest them. There's one in there, a bloke there, had his picture taken with a milk bottle on his head, and it's the record for having a milk bottle on his head.
Yeah.
And it's like 4 days, I want to go, no one wants to beat that record. And there was one in there, this is amazing, this is absolutely true, right? Last year's Guinness Book of Records, it says, in Thailand in 1980, some sort of temple or ceremony, these incense burners fell over and I think crushed people or burnt people to death. 7 people died, and it's under the heading "Worst Joss Stick Disaster Ever." Do you reckon they're going to try and beat that one?
Oh, God.
There's a guy up north, right, who's he's in the Guinness Book of Records for being able to put a car, a little mini,
Up his arse.
on his head, right? And you think, oh, that's good, but without the engine in.
I love the fact that he puts this thing that still weighs like, 50 stones on his head, and you're going, boo!
Yeah.
What do you mean he puts the mini on his head?
He wears a little cap with a little bit of sponge on,
They all do up there.
and he picks up this mini,
Yeah, go on.
and it takes like 2 blokes to put it on his head, and then he walks around for about 10 seconds showing off, but it doesn't have the engine in it. So I mean, if you're going to do it,
Yeah. Go the whole hog is what
Yeah.
you're saying.
See, the reason I think he didn't do it with the engine in is because he couldn't, Carl.
Yeah.
we'll do a motorbike or something.
My mate went to see that, what's that circus that came to London? And that was in, the Camden, and it's sort of like really weird sort of gothic thing.
Oh, right, yes, I
And
remember.
there's he said at one point, this nude woman got into a jar. He went, but it was a big jar. He said it was a jar big enough for a woman.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
People want to go, boo!
Yeah.
But, get into a jam jar,
Exactly.
and, I'll be applauding. But
Yeah,
that was a
yeah.
big jar.
That's a jar shaped like you.
I will get into a wardrobe. What, that big wardrobe? Yeah, well, I can get into that. No, I will get into the
Well, I
wardrobe.
remember, I told you about this before, Rick. I was devastated I think it was a couple of years ago, when I read about that guy that won the world record for staying underground the longest. Like,
Oh,
what
yeah.
happened, right? He got in this box, and he was buried like 10 feet underground.
It was in a pub car park in
Yeah,
Mansfield.
and the only way he
near
could
Nottingham.
communicate was through this tube that they had that went up to the surface, and he could talk to people, and I assume that was how he got oxygen. And it said that while he was down there, right, he began and ended a relationship with a woman.
She put a
she was
note
a
down.
passerby, she chatted to him, they start this relationship, and they ended it, right? Now, my point was, right, obviously, my luck with the ladies is not triumphant, and, I haven't got a girlfriend or whatever.
You're not
and
Don Juan.
Well, exactly right. And what I'm saying is, when you read that there's a man 10 feet underground pulling women through a tube,
Yeah.
you've got to sit yourself down and ask yourself some very serious questions.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
a little bit as you can imagine, a little bit upset
From
by
the
that.
Midlands?
Exactly.
Yeah.
A little bit devastated.
Oh dear.
Really upset me.